back to our ghost sucking dick montage.
Welcome back to All of Us Podcast. Today I got Connor Clark here.
What's up, guys?
We've known each other for 10 years now. Basically been best friends for all 10 of those years.
Basically.
We have been best friends for all 10 of those years. Basically. Obviously, with being best friends, we share a lot of laughs, share a lot of memories. Knowing him the best and him knowing me the best, obviously we know a lot about each other that a lot of people don't know. Some things that I don't know that may be part of the story that are serious, because, I mean, like, it's just inevitable. Whenever we're together, we're just always laughing, always getting into funny moments that can't be discussed.
Right. Whether we like it or not, it just happens.
Literally. So we're going to talk about, or Connor's going to talk about some of those serious moments that kind of tell his story.
Where do I start? You obviously already know this, but like from a young age, my parents have always been split from one another. Growing up, I didn't really understand the ramifications of it. It never really dawned on me, what that can do to, my development or me growing up, having different friendships, relationships, whatever it is. But growing up, being 22 years old now, I start to understand how that's sort of shaped me and molded me into the person that I am today. And a lot of the insecurities or anxieties or whatever it is that I do, that I have in my life now. But, you and I have known each other since, 8th grade?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. There hasn't been a lot that you don't really know about. There's not a lot of hard times that I went through that you weren't, right there by my side to go with. But I think where I'd like to start, where this story goes, leading me to the point I am now, it's probably about 4 or 5 years ago, I would say, when I first moved. Living in Dearborn, you sort of know everybody. You grow up with all your friends.
Yeah.
You don't, it's easier to keep in contact with everybody. And after high school, I moved out to Brighton, which was pretty hard for me. I saw all my friends go away to school, especially you. That was really hard. I remember the last day that you and I, got to spend with one another before you went to school. It was,
Okay.
the night before was,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But I just remember all that day just thinking I just feel left behind. I feel left out. I am not going to be there for, some of those memories, whatever it is. So it was really hard for me. And then, it was sort of out of the blue. I just, I picked up and I moved. And, Zach didn't even know that I had
came
left.
back from school one weekend and I was like, hey Connor, are you trying to get some McDonald's or something? And he's like, I moved to Brighton. I was like,
Yeah. It was that abrupt. It was just quick.
it really was.
But, and I think that's where sort of my story sort of begins. I went through a lot of rough patches in my life. I had a few dead-end jobs that, I wasn't happy with. I, wasn't happy with the progression I was making in school. I wasn't really doing things that I enjoyed in school. It's not that I was a bad student. I have never really been a bad student while I was in college,
Right.
but I wasn't taking classes that I really enjoyed. I didn't really know what my end goal was. I had no, there was nothing there for me to be excited about.
Riding a wave that was going to eventually crash.
Yeah, basically. And my girlfriend now of 5 years almost?
Mm-hmm.
4.5 years. We went through, we went to hell and back. We've had a lot of rough moments, and especially within those 3 or 4 years, it was just really, really tough.
Let me just put this on record. When, obviously, we know each other very well, to the point where no one else knows anything
Yeah.
as much as we do each other. But let's say with your girlfriend, there's things and stuff that I don't know that are between you guys, and I respect it and I like it how you keep it between, what's between me and you is between me and you.
Right.
What's between you and her, between you and her.
Yeah.
you need help with something, I'm obviously gonna be here, and you know that.
Right.
And then you've asked me for stuff to help you, but you don't go ahead and tell me all your guys' business.
Right.
Times when
Exactly.
So.
But yeah, I mean, just, you know, kind of going off that, I, you know, was really kind of in a rut of, it was just a constant limbo of like, me being left behind, me being left out, not being in, you know, people's pictures that meant so much to me in the years prior to that. And I sort of was going down this path that I didn't want to go down. School got really tough for me. You know, life in general just got really tough for me. My relationship with my parents was terrible, terrible, terrible. I was, you know, I was never home. I just was always out, you know, 2:30 in the morning, never home. And when I was, it was just miserable for me. I made everybody else's life around me miserable. My girlfriend's life was miserable because of me. And it was honestly just, like I said, it was just that constant limbo of being left behind, having so much anxiety behind, you know, the outlook of what my life needed to be, what I thought I needed to be, that I wasn't living up to the certain potential that people were living up to at that time.
So did you think that, like, majority of people going away to school, you had to go away to school?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I can remember the day when you said that you were going to leave for sure, you know, for Chicago, when you were going to go to Chicago. And I was 100% on board. I was like, if he's going, I'm going. That's what it's going to be. And obviously that's not reality.
Yeah. Which we didn't know.
Which, yeah, at that point we didn't know. But yeah, all of my friends, they all went away to school. And I just felt like, you know, sort of like a loser. I didn't go away to school. I started out at a community college, and that was the deal that I had with my parents, is that's what I had to do. But it was just that whole constant having anxiety, fear, and being left out of the picture, left behind, not achieving what everybody else, what I thought everybody else was achieving in my life. You know, fast forward into those, you know, couple years, as things started to look up a little bit for me better. I found a new job. I really liked it. Obviously I lost my job because of COVID, but really liked it. I enjoyed working with the people that I worked with. I was happy with the progress I was making in school. Things just started to look up for me, you know. And then we, you know, obviously, like, we shared some good times in those couple years, but that anxiety started, you know, it started to creep back up again, and that's something that not a lot of people know about me, I would say it's almost a crippling anxiety of failure and not living up to a certain standard of what I think everybody else is, or how everybody else is viewing me. And that goes back to, you know, the way I was raised, or the way that I was treated by my parents at certain points in my life. But obviously, like, we don't have to get into that. But yeah, fast forward a few years, and it started to get better, but then it all kind of started to crumble again. My girlfriend and I again went through a really, really rough time. And we, like, you and I, there was no, you know, it's not like there was any animosity towards either of us. It wasn't like, oh, we just don't speak to each other because we don't like each other anymore. But we were caught up in everything that was going on in our life.
Even during, like, college, I mean, like, the saying, out of sight, out of mind. I mean, like, when I was at college, you weren't out of my mind.
Right.
I was always thinking about, like, man, what's Connor doing right now?
Right.
We would always text each other. I mean, we have a Snap streak that's almost 1,600.
Yeah.
So, like, even though I was away at school, yeah, that had its pros and cons. Being here, going to wherever, has its pros and cons as well. But you saw how much we still hung out.
Right.
Every time I literally could.
Yeah,
Any break.
we were together.
This year,
Yeah. And
great memories.
for as much as I knew that we were still best friends, there was always something in the back of my mind that I saw you were doing something, and I thought, wow, that's so much cooler than everything that I'm doing. And not even you, but just everybody my age. I was at home working a job, going to school, whatever it was. I felt as if I was paying my dues and nobody else was. Everybody was just sort of, hey, I'm just gonna live free and do what I want to do. And that definitely was really hard for me too. And that played into, again, having a terrible, home life for those, couple of years. Not,
Needed to get away.
Yeah, I that's what I needed. I felt as if I just needed to get away. Played into a big role of why my girlfriend and I had so many falling outs, because she would always tell me, you don't have to be like everybody else to achieve what everybody else is going to achieve in their life.
I mean, look now.
Yeah, and I never, I didn't ever take that for face value. I was always stuck in my head that if I'm not doing what everybody else is doing, I'm 10 steps behind. And I feel as if like I'm talking about, our relationship a lot, but a lot of my story does involve you. A majority of it does. I can't think of moments when, I wasn't going through something or having something happen to me in my life, whether good or bad, that, Zach wasn't there right along with that. And that's just a testament to, how important he is to me in my life, in my story, in my journey, and everything that is going to continue to happen in my life. And obviously, like, my parents, my girlfriend, my other friends, they're all, super, super important to me, but I can confirm I wouldn't be in a lot of places now if it wasn't for things that you have done for me, my girlfriend has done for me. You guys are obviously the biggest, proprietors and why I do a lot of the things that I do. But to get back to that story a little bit, 2020 rolls around, and you and I had a conversation that 2020 was gonna be probably the best years of our life.
I went to a New Year's party with Josh.
Yeah.
Super fun. We come back, we came here. I stayed the night here, super fun. Obviously, just messed around. And then that night we were like, dude, 2020, it's 2020.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun. Graduating college, whatever. As excited as we were like, what's gonna happen? And little did we know.
Yeah, 3 months down the line that
It was a sick year.
COVID was gonna hit. I'm pretty sure this was like maybe a few months before COVID had hit. You had gotten into a car accident.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
It actually was exactly a year ago, like a couple of days ago.
Yeah. So I remember Zach texting me that he had gotten into a car accident, and I couldn't help but have 9 million things running through my mind.
And it wasn't my fault. I wasn't driving. It wasn't the driver's fault at all.
Right.
It was just us going down a road that was like Main Street in downtown, and the person just was an elder folk and just was not paying attention. Hit my side of the car. The door was dented in. Glass was shattered everywhere, all over me. It was a crazy experience, one that I'll never forget. I never have felt myself I sort of hyperventilating. Like, I never do that unless I just ran a mile, but that was like life really flashed in front of my eyes. It's even hard to talk about still.
Yeah, I can only imagine, you being in that situation. But I just remember how many things were going through the back of my mind when you had texted me that, or when I had found out that you were in an accident. It really put, a whole wrench into things, and that whole day I just remember worrying about it and not really being able to get that off my mind. And like still to this day, sometimes I think about it and it's just crazy to me that, you know, you guys are both okay. And, well, I mean, obviously like you're okay, but
No.
but I just remember that whole day, you know, how I almost want to say terrified I was, you know, for you, the driver, you know, obviously the person who had hit you as well, but it just was a constant thing on my mind. And this also plays into, you know, the year that 2020 was. Just seemed like one bad thing happened after another. You know, fast forward a few months, COVID had hit. I remember, again, you and I had talked like the day before we went into lockdown. And we were like, you know, it's probably gonna be like 1 or 2 weeks. Everything will be back to normal by then. Little did we know, a year later.
Still going on, who knows how long.
Yeah, but so COVID came around. You know, obviously we weren't able to go to school anymore. A lot of the things that was normal to us, we weren't able to do. A lot of the things that were keeping the glue together for me and keeping my anxiety at bay about, you know, again, not being successful in life, being a failure, letting everybody down in my life. A lot of those things went away. A lot of the things that were keeping my mind off of that went away. Whether that was, you know, being able to go to school, being able to go out, just do things, going to the gym. Those things, you know, they weren't there anymore. And I kind of went into a pretty dark place, not anywhere, you know, close to what people may think it was, but it was really hard. You know, I couldn't see my best friends anymore. My girlfriend and I didn't see each other from March until about the end of May.
I mean, yeah, this is the first time me and Connor have seen each other since September.
Yeah, or October.
Was it October?
Yeah,
October.
Yeah, my girlfriend and I took a 4-month, about two and a half month hiatus from one another, because we both live at home with somebody who is more keen to get COVID and have something bad happen to them because of it. So we, you know, took that upon ourselves to, hey, we probably shouldn't see each other for a while. But where this is a stark contrast to what I think everybody else's 2020 might have been. I look back at it now and I think 2020 is definitely a pivotal point in what my story is now. 2020 really helped me have a better appreciation for the things that I have, such as my friends, my girlfriend, and
A lot of us could say that.
yeah, and that's back to the story about you and your car accident. I thought about that, you know, months down the line during COVID, and it really just makes me appreciate the things that I do have, the people that I have in my life. Not saying I never appreciated them before,
Right.
but I just have so much more of an appreciation for it. I finally found what I think, you know, is my calling for a career. You know, I just enticed myself in it basically every day. Was always doing new research, was always reading a new article about something. And this was all around the time of like the Black Lives Matter movement, is when kind of clicked with me that I want to go into public service. As you know, my end goal is I would love to be, you know, like a state senator, or I'm sorry, like a U.S. senator, or you know, a U.S. representative. That's really where I would like to go, but you know, who knows what's going to take me there. A lot of 2020 has taught me, you know, good lessons of not only just having a better appreciation for everything that's around me, for everybody that's in my life, for the life that I have, the world that we live in, being able to, you know, being as dark as it is, you know, most of the time, you can take these tiny little things and pin them together and find something amazing out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I found, a better passion for, just my work in general, going to the gym, feeling included in things that I always thought was sort of nerdish when I was, growing up. And you probably already know this, but like, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Like, you already know that probably. But like, I finally feel as if like I'm able to talk about that, like, enjoying that fandom or being a part of that.
This is why I have this, is because where my best friend thinks that it's nerdish to like Star Wars or talk about it. No, it doesn't matter. If it's something that you like, it's something that you have a passion for. I mean, it shouldn't hold you back from feeling like, you're not yourself or you're not included in something. Like, that's the whole reason. And back to like COVID hitting and everything. Like the saying, was it the saying, "You don't know what you have until it's gone," is like probably the biggest saying in my life. That is the absolute truest thing ever.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, just like he said, I have always had, some sort of anxiety around what people had thought about me, or how they perceive me, how they look at me, how they, just how they think of me in general. I think a big part of that has escaped me in the year of 2020. I think I have learned to sort of overcome that. While still, hits me at some points in time. I don't think, it's a big dominant reason of me going into a dark place, or me having terrible relationships, or, taking my life down a path that it's not supposed to be going. I don't think it has control over that anymore. And 2020 also has taught me, I saw this saying the other day, never judge anybody else, because we all put our pants on the same.
True.
And I've always sort of lived by that to an extent, but 2020 has definitely brought more out of me of understanding my privilege, understanding who I am in the society that I live in, when and where you should speak, when and where you should listen, and speak about matters that are important to you, speak about matters that are important to our society as a whole, as our collective society, starting to really understand the gravity of certain situations, not only within my life, but in the greater collective of life in general, of our society, and why some of those issues still persist today. I think 2020 has definitely opened my eyes to a lot.
It's opened a lot of people's eyes.
Made me want to do a lot more, having the privilege that I have, knowing that I would be able to do those things, be the voice for people who may not think they have one, even though they do. It's really helped me crawl back out of that place that I was in 3 or 4 years ago, and want to be a driving force of change in not only my life, your life, but everybody's life around.
Isn't it crazy how this comes full circle?
Yeah, and who knows where I'll be in the next year. Sometimes I question myself, for me going to school for what I went to school for, was it worth it?
Mm-hmm.
Is it worth doing what I want to do in the end? Will people look at me different? Will people think of me different? But in the end of the day, like I said, don't ever take anything for granted. Don't let anybody change the way that you perceive something. Because at the end of the day, you are your story,
Mm-hmm.
or you are your own main character in your story.
And no one else
Don't let anybody ever change
is like
that.
you. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, who knows where I'll be in the next year? I don't think anybody can say that, especially after the year of 2020. But 2020 definitely gave me a better foothold in what I want to do in my life, how I want to do it, the people I want to be surrounded by, and fight for the things that are important to me, fight for the values of everybody, fight for the civil liberties of everybody, and just be a good person. It's not hard. You know, you shouldn't have to wake up in the morning and say, I think I'll be a good person today. You should just do it every day. It's almost the thing is like, pay it forward.
Yeah.
Give somebody a smile and they'll smile at somebody else. And those are the things that, you know, can change our society forever. But yeah, so that's a little bit about me, my story.
And
he may not have known some of those things, but now he does. Now you guys do.
yeah, I mean, like, we never really get the time to actually sit down and we're like, oh wait, let's talk about something serious.
Yeah.
It's usually
Because there's never a serious moment between you and I,
no,
really, ever.
really not. And then that leads us to what we're gonna talk about next, which is I wouldn't say like it's the funniest. We can't tell you the funniest.
No, well,
we can, but we're not
yeah,
going to.
We're not going to.
So we're gonna tell a couple funny stories, memories, moments that have happened between us or that included both of us. This is so stupid, bro.
I know. Well, like we said, these aren't the funniest moments, but they're definitely in there in the scrapbook.
That's great. But one moment that comes to mind is that so the day after prom for all the seniors, we obviously skipped class. So me and Connor, we just went out joyriding. Probably got food or something, I don't remember, but we called someone that I had a class with. Obviously had the same teacher, and you know, actually looking back, this is kind of
Well, I mean, we don't have to tell what we said.
no, we're gonna say what we said.
Okay.
You know, what's the point of the story? So we're driving and we go past our high school. We're like, dang, look at these losers, man. They're in school. We're not. You know, obviously thought we were sweet. And so we're on the phone with this kid, and he's in the class that we had together. And the teacher was overweight. I'm not gonna say by how much. I'm not gonna say. She just was overweight, and
Mind you, we were teenagers. We wouldn't do this again.
no, absolutely not. But at the time, we did it.
Yeah.
And he had us on speakerphone, and in the background, we heard the teacher go, "Hey, like, are you on the phone?" And we said, "This big fat." That's
No, we didn't say that. We said, "You're fat."
okay. So we said, "You're fat," because like we knew he was on speaker. It'd be funny because then she'd be like, "All right, you get out." And then she was like, "Hey, I heard that." And this is as we were driving past our high school. And then I don't know why I did this, but I just thought, oh, she heard that. She's gonna start chasing me. So I just gunned it in my car.
Yeah, you did. Why'd you gas 90 down Rotunda? But yeah, that was funny.
That was stupid.
Yeah, but
But it was funny that she heard it. But
and then another time,
10th grade.
10th grade. All right. Well, so we went to Cedar Point like basically every year with each other for Halloween weekends since what 8th grade, I think.
Yeah.
So like what 2012.
Yeah.
And so we got there and it was mad cold, like
It was raining.
raining, just nasty weather. So it starts to like downpour, and we're like all the way for the people who know like this park. We're like by the Maverick, which is like all the way in the back of the park. So we had to like run all the way through. When at the time they had like that tunnel. We had to run all the way through the tunnel, all the way through that back parking lot to get back to our camper.
Yeah.
And we had stopped because we were just mad wet. And we had stopped under this like little pavilion thing, and we were like, all right, we're gonna get dry for a minute. We're like, what is still, why are we still getting wet? We looked up and the whole canopy was gone, just missing.
It was literally just a box and it was just empty. Like a metal box, and we were like, oh, sick, just
Yeah.
pouring on us.
So anyways, we book it back to our camper.
I was wearing like sandals and like we were booking it. I hydroplaned across.
Oh
like,
yeah. We smacked this good, great Sloppy Joe. That Sloppy Joe hit. It hit my guts different. My guts were busting after that. Anyways, like it got nice out again. Well, I wouldn't say nice.
It wasn't
but,
nice. It stopped raining.
Yeah, it stopped raining. We got dry clothes on. Zach steps out of my camper. He's like, got these nice white.
Dude,
nice,
you ever wear
nice
socks right out of the dryer? Oh.
Yeah, he was like nice dry socks on, walking through the parking lot to get back, and dude steps off the curb, right into an like
Bruce Almighty my shin.
Yeah, he fully did. It was like a shin deep puddle. Dry sock, wet sock. You waterboarded your sock.
I did.
Yeah, that was probably one of the hardest times I've ever laughed in my life.
Ah, oh, don't say that.
It was funny.
El bueno.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's gonna do it for this episode. Thank you guys for listening or watching. Anything else to say? Cool. If you like the video, like it, subscribe. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next video.
Catch you on the flip side.
Wow.
My bad. Hey, cut that.
This is staying in. This is all I'm staying in.
Oh shit. This won't though.